Hello, welcome to another video from the Animal University channel. Let's go for the video. Stork. Storks are large, long-necked wading birds with long, stut bills. Storks dwell in many regions and tend to live in drier habitats than the clausal-related herons, spoonbills and ibises. They also lack the powder down that those groups use to clean off fish slime. Bill clattering is an important mode of communication at the nest. Many species are migratory. Most storks eat frogs, fish, insects, earthworms, small birds, and small mammals. There are 19 living specials of storks in 6 genera. Various terms is used to refer to groups of storks, two frequently using ones being a municipality of storks and a phalanx of storks. Storks tend to use soaring, gliding flight, which conserve energy. Soaring requires thermal air currents. Otto Marantschut's famous 1884 album of photographs of storks inspired the design of Otto Lilienthal's experimental glides of the late 19th century. Storks are heavy, with wide wingspans. The marabou stork, with a wingspan of 3.2 meters 10 feet 6 inches and weight up to 8 kilograms, 18 lb, joins the Andean condor in the widest wingspan of all land birds. Their nests are often very large and may be used for many years. Some nests been known to grow to over 2 meters 6 feet 7 inches in diameter and about 3 meters 9.8 feet in depth. All storks were once thought to be monogamous, but this is only partially true. Some species mate mates after migrations, and may migrate within a mate. Storks' large size, serial monogamy, and faithfulness to an established nesting site contribute to their prominence in mythology and culture. All 20 stork species have been assembled by the IUCN and carry a confident red list status. However, this assessment appears to be based on incorrect assumptions and a general abuse of sound information on stork habits, suggesting that basic studies on many storks are needed. Morphology. Storks range in size from the marabou, which stands 152 centimeters 60 in, tall and can weigh 8.9 kilograms, to the Adam's stork, which is only 75 centimeters 30 in, high and weighs only 1.3 kilograms. Their shape is superficially similar to the herons, with long legs and necks, but they are more heavy-set. There is some sexual dimorphism, differences between males and females in size, with males being up to 15% bigger than females in some species, for example, the saddle-billed stork, but almost no difference in appearance. The only difference is in the color of the iris of the two species in the genus Ciconiiformes. The bills of storks are large to very large, and vary considerably between the genera. The shape of the bills is linked to the diet of the different species. The large bills of the Ciconiidae storks are the least specialized. Larger are the massive and slightly upturned bills of the Ciconiiformes and the jabiru. These have evolved to hunt for fish in shallow water. Larger still are the massive daggers of the two adjutants and marabou, leptoptylos, which are used to feed on carrion and in defense against other scavengers, as well as for taking other prey. The long, ibis-like down-curved bills of the Macteria storks have sensitive tips that allow them to detect prey by touch, tactilocation, where cloudy conditions would not allow them to see it. The most specialized bills of any storks are those of the two open bills, anastomus, which as their name suggested is open in the middle when their bill is closed. These bills have evolved to help open bills feed on their only prey item, aquatic snails. Although it is sometimes reported that storks lack syrinxes and are mute, they do have syrinxes, and are capable of making some sounds, although they do not do so often. The syrinxes of storks are variably degenerate however, and the syringeal membranes of some species are found between tracheal rings or cartilage, an unusual arrangement shared with the ovenbirds. Distribution and habitat. Storks have a nearly cosmopolitan distribution, being absent from the poles, most of North America and large parts of Australia. The centers of stork diversity are in tropical Asia and sub-Saharan Africa, with 8 and 6 breeding species respectively. Just 3 species are present in the New World, wood stork, Maguari stork and jabiru, which is the tallest flying bird of the Americas. 2 species, white and black stork, reach Europe and western temperate Asia, while 1 species, oriental stork, reaches temperate areas of eastern Asia, and 1 species, black-necked stork, is found in Australasia. Storks are more diverse and common in the tropics, and the species that live in temperate climates for the most part migrate to avoid the worst of winter. they are fairly diverse in their habitat requirements. Some species, particularly the Macteria wood storks and anastomus openbills, are highly dependent on water and aquatic prey, but many other species are far less dependent on this habitat type, although they will frequently make use of it. Species like the marabou and Abdam's stork will frequently be found foraging in open grasslands of savanna. Preferred habitats include flooded grasslands, light woodland, marshes and paddy fields, wet meadows, river backwaters and ponds. Many species will select shallow pools, particularly when lakes or rivers are drying out, as they concentrate prey and make it harder for prey to escape, or when monsoonal rainfall increases water depth of larger water bodies. Some species like the woolly-necked storks and lesser adjutant storks have adapted to changing crops of tropical agricultural landscapes, showcasing behavioral plasticity that enables them to remain resident despite the transformations brought about by seasonal crops. In South Africa, the woolly-necked storks have adapted to artificial feeding and now largely nest on trees and gardens with swimming pools. Less typical habitats include the dense temperate forests used by European black storks, or the rainforest habitat sought by Storm's stork in Southeast Asia. They generally avoid marine habitats, with the exception of the lesser adjutant, milky stork and wood stork, all of which forage in mangroves, lagoons and estuarine mudflats. A number of species, especially woolly-necked storks, black-necked storks, Asian openbills and lesser adjutant storks in South Asia, have adapted to highly modified human habitats, either for foraging or breeding, or both. In the absence of persecution, several species breed close to people, and species such as the marabou, greater adjutant, and white stork will feed at landfill sites. Migration and movements. Storks vary in their tendency towards migration. Temperate species like the white stork, black stork and oriental stork undertake long annual migrations in the winter. The routes taken by these species have developed to avoid long-distance travel across water, and from Europe this usually means flying across the Straits of Gibraltar or east across the Bosphorus and through Israel and the Sinai. Studies of young birds denied the chance to travel with others of their species have shown that these routes are at least partially learnt, rather than being innate as they are in passerine migrants. Migrating black storks are split between those that make stopovers on the migration between Europe and their wintering grounds in Africa, and those that don't. The Abdam's stork is another migrant, albeit one that migrates within the tropics. It breeds in northern Africa, from Senegal to the Red Sea, during the wet season, and then migrates to southern Africa. Many species that aren't regular migrants will still make smaller movements if circumstances require it, others may migrate over part of their range. This can also include regular commutes from nesting sites to feeding areas. Wood storks have been observed feeding 130 kilometers, 80 miles, from their breeding colony. I hope you enjoyed this video enough and it was informative. Please like the video and subscribe the channel. Introduce us to your friends. Good luck to you all.